In the midst of social distancing and business lockdowns, a freelance writer and a graphic artist bought a bus, converted it into a tiny home on wheels, and moved out of our 4-bedroom house. 1 year later, we downsized to a Chevy Express. Now we travel between Texas and Pennsylvania from April through November while exploring small towns with rich histories. In the winter, we hunker down in Texas in our schoolie and dream of our next big trip.
We're Alan and Teresa.
And we're rolling with our nomies.
Well, good morning there, my fair weather friends. We're in Augusta, Georgia this morning, and we're going to walk the historic walking tour here in Augusta. I'm standing in front of the canal system turnaround.
Turning base.
The turnaround basin here in Augusta. So they have an old canal system that runs through here, and there's a walking path. We're not going to do the entire walking path, but some of our tour today will cross it, and we've got some other things on the agenda as well. So follow us along. We're going to see what Augusta, Georgia has going.
There's 3 historic streets.
There are 3 historic streets. I just want to mention there's Telfair, there's Green, and there's Broad Street. We're going to spend most of our time today on Telfair, and there's some really cool things to see there, and we're looking forward to showing you what they are. So we're looking at the Most Holy Trinity Catholic Church. This building was constructed from 1857 to 63, and it's one of the oldest Catholic churches in Georgia.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
It is beautiful. Okay, this is the home of Joseph R. Lamar, who was an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. The house was built in 1860, and you can see the Italianate style, built by William Salisbury, who was a local stove merchant. He sold it to Emily H. Tubman, who provided it as a manse for her pastor, James S. Lamar, of the First Christian Church. His son, Joseph R. Lamar, was the Supreme Court Justice. Then the house was sold in 1875 to a Ferdinand Baldry Tunisi, who retained it, his family retained it up through the 1930s when it became a tourist home. Now it is headquarters for Historic Augusta Incorporated. Nice house. Now right next to it is the boyhood home of Woodrow Wilson.
I'm not sure that write-up is on there.
Yeah, I don't see the write-up on that. Maybe we can cross over the street and I can read some information off the plaque. Let this car go. Oh, he's turning.
Okay.
So Woodrow Wilson, as you know, if you're up on your history, was the 27th president of the United States. He helped create the League of Nations, which is now the United Nations. He lived here, which was the manse of the First Presbyterian Church across the street. Patty corners we'll do in just a second.
Where
Wilson,
his father was the pastor.
Yeah, his father, Dr. Joseph R. Wilson, was the pastor of the church from 1858 to 1870. Wilson was born in Stanton, Virginia, but in 1856 he attended the University of Virginia Law School, graduating in 1881 from Princeton University. Practiced law in Atlanta, and in 1885 was married in the manse of the Savannah Independent Presbyterian Church. Then studied political science and made his way here to somehow. But anyways, you know, the president in 1920, or in the 20s, the 27th President Woodrow Wilson led the country in the First World War. He attended the Paris Peace Conference, where he fathered the ill-starred League of Nations.
Yeah,
And then,
he and Joseph Rucker Lamar, or Joseph R. Lamar, who lived next door, were
They
playmates.
And Lamar, I guess, was
He was an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court
in 1902 to 1905.
and of the that was
Okay.
of
That
Georgia.
was of, Georgia. Yeah, he was Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of Georgia from 1902 to 1905, and then appointed to the Supreme Court of the U.S. in 1910, and served until he died in 1916. So Lamar, the Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, and President Woodrow Wilson were boyhood playmates, lived right next door to each other.
Right.
Nice bit of history there.
That is pretty cool.
In front of the First Presbyterian Church, and boy, does it have a commanding steeple.
It does.
I feel like sometimes when we're looking at churches, it's like there was some kind of competition going. Our steeple's bigger than your steeple.
Well, I will tell you, this is a commanding church, not just the steeple.
It is very much so. It was built between 1809 and 1812, according to plans drawn by Robert Mills in 1807. And it was done actually in a design competition, so I guess he won.
I guess.
Altered to the present design in 1848, master builder William Henry Goodrich of Augusta converted it to a Tudor Gothic style. Then east and west wings were added later on. The congregation was established in 1804 at St. Paul's Church on Reynolds Street. Joseph Ruggles Wilson, father of President Woodrow Wilson, served as pastor from 1858 to 1870. Presbyterian Church in the Confederate States was founded here in 1861. I didn't know there was a denomination by that name.
No, I did not know that either.
The building and grounds were used as a Confederate hospital and prison after the Battle of Chickamauga in 1863.
Okay.
They were standing in front of the old Academy of Richmond County. It was completed in 1802 as the second facility occupied by the Academy. It's the oldest educational institution in the state of Georgia, founded in 1783. The architect and builder was Richard Clark. It was remodeled in the Tudor Gothic Revival style in 1856 and 57 by William Henry Goodrich. It was used for the Augusta Library from 1928 through 1960 and housed the Augusta Museum of History in 1937 to 1994.
It's a really neat building. It looks like a castle.
It's beautiful.
It's got the battlements up there on top. They can
And
stick a rifle
it's got
through
this
there.
little rocket ship looking thing there out front.
Right.
I'm not sure what that is.
I don't know what it is either, but it's really quite cool.
Yeah. Really awesome.
And another view of the Richmond Academy.
Yeah.
Gives you a nice view of the side and the front. And it's got this brick fence that surrounds it. We were lucky in that brick fence is down right in front of it, so I could get the good view. But this is looking over the fence.
So this is the home of Nicholas Ware. The home was built in 1818 as a residence for Nicholas Ware, who allegedly spent $40,000 for its construction. Now, Ware was born in Virginia in 1777, the son of a Revolutionary War veteran, and he moved to Augusta as a child. He was the mayor of Augusta from 1819 to 1821. This is one of the best examples of federal-style architecture in Georgia. No one knows who the architect and builder were, but it's got double stairs to the parlor level. Intricate classical details on the portico, bay windows, and a nice cornice.
It is absolutely gorgeous, but $40,000?
Yeah, that would have been a fortune back in those days.
Right, where did he get it?
That's a good question. That's a real good question.
It must pay their mayors good.
But let's see, they call it Ware's Folly, but it doesn't tell how it got that name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so this is the Walker McKenzie studio. House was built around 1907 and occupied by William D. Miller and his wife, Josie. Miller was a secretary and treasurer of the Dixie Lumber Company. It is a late Victorian with colonial revival detailing.
Okay.
Nice home, beautiful.
Look at the back of, what's his name? The last guy, the mayor.
Oh yeah, the Ware?
Yeah.
Yeah, look at the back of his house. Nice patio.
It's gorgeous. I could see some balls taking place in that house.
We've had that ball discussion before.
Yep.
So Amanda America Dixon Toomer was born in Hancock County in 1849 to a wealthy planter named David Dixon and his wife Julia.
No, it's not his wife.
No, it was not his wife. Julia was a slave of Dixon's mother Elizabeth. Although conceived through rape
Of her
of her
adolescent
mother, Amanda was raised and educated in the Dixon household. Upon his death in 1885, Dixon bequeathed most of his wealth to Amanda. Contested by white relatives, the will was confirmed by an all-male white jury in Hancock County and upheld by the Georgia Supreme Court under the 14th Amendment. After purchasing the home in 1886, Amanda became an integral member of Augusta's black community. Known for her philanthropy and attendance at Mother Trinity Church, Amanda died in 1893 as one of the country's wealthiest black citizens. Huh, that's a good story.
That's why this house was on the tour.
Wow. All right, so we're looking at the old government house built in 1801. It's one of the oldest remaining public buildings in Augusta. It originally consisted of central block, the structure only, and it housed the seats of local government. It was sold to Mayor Samuel Hale in 1821, who turned it into his private residence. And since then, it has housed many prominent Augustans, responsible for turning the state courthouse into a gracious home. Homeowners include Dr. Eugene Murphy, a well-known physician, and it was also owned by the Junior League and Historic Augusta from the 50s through the 70s, and has been a setting for many weddings and parties and meetings. The city of Augusta acquired the building and renovated it in 1988.
Okay.
Well, thank you for coming along with us on our tour of Augusta. We are heading back to our vehicle now, and we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Like us, share us with your friends, and don't forget, when you're going through Georgia, stop in the small towns.
Alright, if I don't do this right, then I'm going to be on the bad side of my wife. So y'all bear with me and pray for me. But while you're doing that, don't forget, share us with your friends. Like us if you like us if you don't. Subscribe to the channel. It helps us out. God bless.